The pregnant girl said no place to go. Then the millionaire did the unthinkable. Isabella's hands shook as cold rain blurred the neon signs above her. The city was a beast tonight, indifferent and endless. She had nowhere left to go. No one wanted her. Not now, not with this growing secret inside her. The tightness in her chest made every breath a fight. Her heart slammed against her ribs as distant footsteps echoed like threats on cracked pavement. She passed a flickering street lamp, its weak glow casting giant shadows that swallowed her whole. The whispers of the city crawled in her ears. Voices, judgments, the silent accusations she felt from every glass window she trudged past. Pregnant, they seemed to say, alone, abandoned. The walls pressed in, cold rain soaking through her threadbare coat. Every step was a stab of fear, every glance over her shoulder a shiver of panic. Isabella's phone buzzed once, twice, no name showing. She didn't pick up. Who would answer? Her friends had disappeared when the news got out. Her family had shut their doors and hearts tight. The city kept turning, relentless, untouching, uncaring. And she was just a ghost in the storm. Then, through the mist and chaos, the impossible happened. A sleek black car slid quietly to the curb beside her, its engine humming low like a secret. The door swung open. A tall figure stepped out. Alexander Graves, the man everyone whispered about in high-rise offices and shadowed hallways. The billionaire recluse with a reputation as cold and secretive as the steel towers he owned. He was the city's ghost, the puzzle no one wanted to solve. His gaze found Isabella's, steady, unblinking, but not cruel. "You're not safe out here," he said, his voice smooth but sharp, slicing through the noise around them. Without hesitation, he held out his umbrella. The rain kept falling, dripping from his coat onto the slick street. Isabella's heart thundered in her throat. Why him? Why now? Her instincts screamed to run. Stranger danger screamed louder. But exhaustion and despair gripped her like chains. She hesitated, then stepped into the glow spilling from the car's open door, stepping away from soaked streets and broken trust. Inside, the world was silent, except for the soft hum of leather seats and distant city lights, flickering like stars through tinted windows. Alexander didn't say much. He just drove, forward, away from everything she thought she knew about safety and kindness. But beneath his calm, she sensed something tangled, dangerous, a storm hidden behind cold eyes, secrets that might shatter them both or save them. The city's shadows seemed to cling to him just as they did to her, hiding more than just the night. Isabella sat quietly, the weight of the future pressing down like the rain outside. Trust felt like a word stolen by fear. Who was this man, really, and why did he reach out when everyone else shut the door? The car moved deeper into the dark, shimmering cityscape. Neon signs flickered like warnings. Somewhere ahead, a choice loomed, hope or despair. She didn't know which road this night would lead her down, but she couldn't look away now. What did Alexander Graves want from a girl with no place to go? And was it a lifeline or a trap? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The city blurred past, the rain drumming against the sleek windows like a desperate heartbeat. Isabella sat still, the tension in her stomach pooling into an anxious knot. She stole a glance at Alexander, who focused on the road, the soft glow of the dashboard lighting his sharp features. He seemed like a statue carved from granite, smooth, cold, and utterly unreadable. "Where are we going?" she finally managed, her voice almost lost in the hum of the tires against asphalt. "Somewhere safe," he replied, not turning to meet her gaze. His tone was steady, but parts of it felt like a warning. She wanted to press him for more, but the words tangled in her throat. Minutes stretched like hours, tension coiling tighter. As they crossed into a more affluent part of the city, the glitzy buildings glimmered with a false warmth. The world felt full of polished facades, hiding unseen dangers. Suddenly the car slowed. Isabella's heart raced. What now? An intersection loomed ahead, the light flickering ominously. Just as the glow turned red, a figure burst onto the street from the shadows, arms flailing wildly. "Stop! Stop!" the stranger shouted, stumbling into the car's path. Alexander barely had time to hit the brakes. The car jerked to a halt, the tires screeching against the wet pavement. Isabella's breath caught in her throat. The figure leaned in, rain streaming down his face, blurring the features, but not the panic in his eyes. "Open the door, please," he begged, a desperate lilt in his voice that twisted something deep inside her. And then she saw it. Just over his shoulder, flames flickered from a nearby alley, dark smoke spiraling. "Get out of the car," he shouted again, his face wild with urgency. "There's no time." Alexander hesitated, but the man's panic sent electric shockwaves through Isabella. There was a fire. Someone needed help. Without thinking, she opened the door, the cold rain spraying her as she stepped into the chaos. "Where?" she yelled over the roar of the flames. Fear wrapping around her heart like a vice. "There," he pointed. Isabella turned her head to where the fire raged. Shadows moved within, frantic and lost. Without knowing why, she took a step toward the inferno. "Isabella, no!" Alexander's voice was sharp, cutting through the noise. She looked back, and in that moment, their eyes locked. His expression had shifted. Coldness was replaced by something electric, a spark of fear and anger, all wrapped into one. "Get back!" But before she could respond, a deafening crash echoed as part of the building collapsed, a cloud of thick smoke curling into the night. Isabella stumbled back, heart hammering as she turned to escape. Then she heard it, the man's scream, piercing through the chaos. "Help! Someone's inside!" Without thinking, she ran towards the entrance, each breath inhaling smoke, the heat intensifying around her. Adrenaline surged through her veins. She had to help. She had to. Then, just as she crossed the threshold, the heat roared. A hand grabbed her, yanking her sideways. It was Alexander, and he looked furious. "Get out!" he bellowed, hoarse with panic. She stumbled back into his arms, breathless and wild-eyed. "What are you doing? We have to save them." But what happened next shattered everything. The man who had begged for help suddenly lunged, revealing a gun from his coat. "Not one more step," he snarled, wild desperation twisting his face. "I'm taking you both in." Isabella's heart plummeted. She glanced at Alexander, whose expression had turned cold and calculating. The warmth she thought she had seen in his eyes was gone, and in its place was a storm of secrets. "Why?" she gasped, feeling the weight of the night crushing down. "What do you want?" But as reality twisted around her, the echoes of the chaotic world faded, leaving only silence hanging in the air like a noose. Who was Alexander really, and why was she caught in this web of danger? The flames danced behind her, and suddenly, silence was the last thing she expected. Isabella's heart raced, tangled in confusion and fear. The air felt thick, the fire behind her breathing menacing flames. The man with the gun stood there, eyes wild, like a trapped animal. Everything narrowed down to that moment. "Why are you doing this?" she shouted, trying to make sense of the chaos. "We can help." His features twisted. "You don't understand. You're not safe with him." His gaze darted to Alexander, a look that screamed betrayal, anger, and more. The world blurred as panic wrapped around her like chains. "What do you mean? It wasn't possible." "Listen to me," the man pleaded, desperation cracking his voice. He's not. Oh, you think he is? Alexander's icy demeanor shattered, his jaw tightened, and he stepped closer, shielding Isabella. Get back, he commanded, fury radiating from him. I don't want to hurt you. The flames behind them crackled, fury and destruction fueled by the fear in the air. She could barely think, each breath coated with smoke, panic pulsing through her veins. Was he really dangerous? Please, the man begged, his gun wavering, eyes pleading. I'm not the threat. He is. She doesn't know. She has to know. What don't I know? Isabella's voice shook, a knot twisting in her stomach. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A low rumble that felt like the city itself was warning them. The shadows danced. And she caught a movement out of the corner of her eye. Another figure, dark and menacing, it crept closer, emerging from the smoke. Isa, get in the car now. Alexander's voice sliced through the chaos, sharp and urgent. But something in the man's eyes told her to stay, to listen. Isabella, trust me, the unknown figure called, and with each step, the darkness unfurled, revealing a face she'd know anywhere. Liam, her breath caught, disbelief crashing over her like the rain. It was her brother, a figure from her past she thought she'd lost forever, standing there in the smoke, soaked and desperate. But he was not alone. A woman stepped out behind him, clothes torn, cheeks streaked with dirt. Away from him, Liam yelled, his eyes wild. He's the reason. He's not saving you, Isabella. He's using you. The revelation hit hard, slicing through the tension. How could he say that? How could he stand there looking at her like that? Liam, stop! What are you talking about? She gasped, caught between the two men. But then, as if to answer her unspoken questions, the woman beside him raised her arm and pointed at Alexander. He did this to us. Everything shifted. Confusion spun around her, and shadows threatened to swallow her whole. How? She was drowning in questions, and the fire behind her roared, demanding her attention. Alexander stepped forward, his face hard, defiant. They don't know what they're talking about. Isabella, you are safer with me. Safer? Liam spat, rage seeping into his tone. You think running from your past makes you safe? You don't even know. From what? Isabella cried, her chest tightening. What don't I know? Just tell me the truth. In that moment, everything hung in silence. The chaos paused like breath held. Their eyes darted between one another, fear and uncertainty veiling everything she thought she understood. Then, without warning, the woman lunged forward, desperation driving her. Get her out of here. She grabbed Isabella's arm, pulling fiercely. We can't stay. The fire will spread. You need to trust us. Isabella stared, heart pounding, shock freezing her. She could feel the heat of the flames growing, could see the smoke billowing, but which path led to safety? Which direction promised hope? The street blurred with rain and confusion, screams echoing in her ears. Who was deceiving her? The fire roared to life, and with her choices dangling before her, she felt the weight of everything shatter, pieces spinning into the dark. Isabella, choose. Alexander's voice crashed through her thoughts, a plea wrapped in urgency. But what was left to choose now? And that was the moment she felt it. Something shift. A tremor of understanding. But what truth lay beneath all the lies? The flames flickered, and suddenly everything seemed futile. Wait, she called out, caught in the storm of their eyes, desperate for clarity. What came next would change everything or end it all. Wait, Isabella shouted, her voice slicing sharply through the chaos. The flames crackled behind her, an ever-looming monster waiting to swallow everything whole. Alexander's grip on her arm was fierce, but the panic in the man's eyes, the one begging for help, was contagious. Everything felt electrified, and her heart raced as her feet remained frozen. Isabella, come with me. Liam's voice boomed over the roar of fire, full of urgency. The smoke billowed, clouding her senses, yet through it, she could see the fear etched on her brother's face. Help! Another voice screamed from inside the burning building, a haunting sound rising above the terror outside. The building groaned, like a wounded beast. "A minute longer and it'll collapse," Alexander yelled, his tone sharp with panic. But she couldn't bear to move. Not yet. Not with Liam here, and not with the man cradling the gun. "Why won't you just let me explain?" the armed man shouted, eyes wild and pleading. "He's dangerous. You're walking into a trap." "Then tell me the truth," Isabella cried, clutching her head, confusion and fear warping her thoughts. "What happened, Liam? What's he done?" Before Liam had a chance to answer, the unbelievable happened. A loud explosion rocked the alley, sending a massive wave of fire shooting forth, engulfing everything in its path. Heat hit her, searing against her skin. She stumbled back, dragging her brother with her, just as the flames roared, swallowing the chaos in a furious blaze. From the shadows, a tall figure emerged, silhouetted against the inferno behind them. As the flames illuminated the stranger's face, recognition struck Isabella like a lightning bolt. It was her mother. "Mom?" Her voice trembled, disbelief clawing at her. The years passed in haunted memories, but here she was, standing in the chaos, drenched and alive. "Isabella," her mother said, her voice shaking but resolute. "Get away from him." She pointed a quivering finger at Alexander. The world tipped on its axis. Everything Isabella thought she knew twisted violently. "Why? You don't understand. He's the reason we lost everything. The reason I left." Tears streamed down her mother's cheeks, mixing with the rain. Isabella's chest tightened, the weight of her past crashing down. "He's dangerous." "Dangerous?" Alexander's voice snapped, fury igniting his features. "You're accusing me of being the threat? After everything I've done to protect you?" His gaze turned cold, dark. "You don't know anything." "Then tell me." Isabella's heart raced, emotions swirling. "What did you do?" "Stop," the gunman screamed, his fear morphing into a twisted sense of control. "There's no time. We need to escape." But then, in a jaw-dropping moment, her mother lunged forward, arms spread wide, as if welcoming chaos. "Don't you see? This is all part of it. A game he created." The world froze. Confusion washed over Isabella like a tidal wave. "What game?" The ground quaked, and another explosion rang out, shaking their very foundation. Flashes of fire erupted around them while her brother pulled her back, fear spilling from his eyes. "Isa, we have to move. Now." But the truth clawed at her heart. Could she trust any of them? Another piece of the puzzle slipped into view as her mother's face darkened. "We're all players in this," she whispered, stepping closer, her voice low. "And not everyone gets to leave." A tightness coiled around Isabella's throat, a sick feeling gripping her. "What do you mean?" The flames danced hungrily, shadows weaving between them, and as they collapsed around her, she realized in that moment, everyone had secrets. But what lay hidden beneath them was a storm ready to break, and Isabella was caught in the eye of it. "Isabella, choose!" Alexander shouted again, voice climbing to panic. But this time, the urgency felt different. Before she could respond, the gunman lowered his weapon, shaking this way and that, eyes darting. "Don't believe him! Enough! All of you!" Isabella gasped, the fire roaring louder, smoke curling around her, suffocating her only chance at clarity. Choices surged up, but all she could see was the chaos, the truth lurking behind every familiar face. What was real? Who was the enemy? The truth lay thrumming beneath the surface, and as the fire flickered dangerously close, Isabella felt the weight of survival pressing down. Would she uncover the real game before it consumed them all? "Isabella, choose!" Alexander's voice rang out, sharp, raw with desperation. The heat from the fire swirled around her, pressing in with every frantic heartbeat. Her brother Liam tugged her back, but her feet felt glued to the ground. "Why won't you listen?" the gunman cried, eyes wide. "He'll betray you. He's dangerous." "Tell me the truth," she yelled back, breath hitching in her throat. The inferno behind them cracked and pocked, flames licking the air greedily. Isabella, Liam shouted, pulling harder. We need to go. Now. A splintering crash echoed from the building, another part breaking free, and Isabella instinctively stumbled back into Alexander's strong grip. Trust me, he pleaded, intense eyes boring into hers, but her insides were tied in knots. Just as she thought she might break, her mother stepped forward, urgency in her voice. Get away from him, Isabella. He's playing you. I know. Mom, Isabella gasped, disbelief cutting through the smoke. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you. He's using you. Her mother's voice trembled with fear, skin glistening in the rain. What do you mean? The world tilted, everything around her spinning, as the flames danced dangerously close. Before anyone could respond, a deafening boom rocked the street. A shockwave slammed into her, sending mud and debris flying in all directions. She fell against Alexander. Then the impossible happened. The building came crashing down, forming a barrier between her and Liam. No! Isabella shouted, panic surging through her. She fought against Alexander, heart racing. Stay close, he commanded, voice fierce. But chaos reigned, smoke and ashes swirling around them. Then from the haze, a figure emerged. A woman, hair wild, clothes torn. Isa, you have to wake up. What? Isabella's confusion deepened, licking between the shadows and the flames. Suddenly, without warning, another wave of heat surged, and the woman foamed a mouth, eyes wide with terror. You can't stay in this world. You don't belong here. What are you talking about? Isabella cried, feeling dizzy, the air thick, suffocating. Before anyone could respond, the woman flickered, a sudden spark of light, bouncing, weaving in and out of sight until it warped completely. The world twisted again, bending the very fabric of reality. Stop! What's happening? Isabella's heart raced, voice echoing. The fire raged on, but everyone froze, eyes locked on the now translucent woman. And in that singular moment, it became clear. Isa, we need you back. You're not really here. Pain shot through her, memories flooding back, fighting to surface. What? Liam, get her out of here, her mother screamed. Suddenly the truth slammed into her like a tidal wave. This was all an illusion, wasn't it? The fire, the chaos, everything. The choices didn't matter, because she wasn't even real. A fragile construct, dying inside, a reality that didn't exist. No, it couldn't be. Everything she knew, everything she was, shattered. A raw scream ripped from her throat as despair washed over her. No, I'm real. I am. Alexander's grip tightened, grounding her. I'm here, Isabella. I won't let go. But everything felt unreal. As the flames flickered, she realized she wasn't just in danger. She was in a fight for her very existence. And if she couldn't figure out how to break free from this illusion, she'd be lost forever. Isabella! Liam's voice broke through the haze, desperate, determined. You have to come back. Now. We're right. But what if I'm not real? She whispered, trembling dread hugging her tightly. What if none of this matters? The world swirled around them, smoke wrapping tighter, and the ground trembled beneath her feet. Isa, you need to choose. And in that moment, the choice wasn't just about safety anymore. It was about reality itself, a fracture in her very being. But which reality would she choose? How could she decide when chaos twisted everything she thought she knew? The flames heated up, like hungry beasts. And as the specter of a world began to fade, Isabella was left suspended between choices, fighting for air, heart battling against the tide. Will she find the way back to the life she thought she lived? Or will the illusion consume her forever? Isabella's world spun, the heat of the flames wrapping around her like a shroud. Everything inside her screamed to escape, but the truth loomed above them like a knife hanging by a thread. Which choice? Which reality? The panic twisted tighter in her chest, choking her as her mind raced. Isa! Liam reached for her, desperation etched across his face. I swear we're here to save you. But Alexander's voice sliced through the air, more frantic than ever. You can't listen to them. I'm the only one who wants to protect you. His eyes, usually so cool and calculating, burned with a wild intensity. Then the ground trembled again. The rumbling echoed, louder this time, like the city itself was groaning in pain. And just as she thought
Couldn't get worse, the gunman shouted, "They're coming, get back." What? The shadows at the edges seemed to ripple, like something was drawing near. Isabella's heart raced, sensing danger creeping closer. "Isa, move," Liam urged, pulling her. He was shaking and his worry seeped into her bones. But before she could react, the flames flared behind her, illuminating the figure that emerged. It was another woman, a striking silhouette against the fire. Her long hair whipped wildly around her face, a visage of chaos and fury. And when the light caught her eyes, Isabella gasped. The woman looked just like her, but older, familiar, yet foreign. "What?" Isabella's breath caught. "Who are you?" "Isabella," the woman said, voice slicing through the smoke. "It's time to wake up." Wake up? Confusion churned in her, drowning every other thought. "What do you mean? Stop this! She's not supposed to be here." The gunman's voice cracked with urgency, holding the weapon tighter. "Stop!" Alexander shouted, stepping in front of Isabella. "You should listen to her." "Listen?" The woman snapped, and her gaze sharpened, locking onto him. "You're not supposed to protect her. Do you really think she belongs to you?" Her words hit hard. Isabella's heart raced, her mind spinning with the implications. "What do you mean?" The woman strode closer, her presence swallowing the chaos in the air. "I'm here to take you home, but not with him. He's been lying to you." A cold shiver raced down Isabella's spine. Home? But everyone had conditioned her thoughts, woven a tangled web around her reality. Why? Why now? "Because the truth is buried deeper than you realize," the woman replied, stepping closer. "Alexander is part of the darkness, but you were never meant to be." Before she could finish, the earth trembled violently. The flames roared, and suddenly, the gunman raised the weapon, pointing it straight at the mysterious woman. "Get back! I won't let you take her! Stop!" Isabella screamed, caught in the storm of chaos and fear. "I won't let you!" the man yelled. The intensity surged like a tidal wave. Isabella's heart skipped. She couldn't breathe. A thunderous roar exploded just as a flash of light consumed everything. The last thing she saw was the flicker of the woman's eyes filled with resolve, and then darkness. Isabella crashed into the void, heart pounding, world gone silent. "Isabella," a soft voice whispered, ethereal and echoing, swirling around her like a gentle embrace. "I'm sorry." The warmth of being held made her ache. The darkness, though, pressed around her like a heavy cloak. "What's happening?" she breathed, panicking in the unknown. What would she wake up to? But then the weight vanished, and a new reality blossomed. She gasped, eyes flashing open as if drawing breath for the first time. The colors vibrant and sharp around her. The air tasted different, fresh, crystalline. She was lying on grass, beneath an endless sky painted in a warm sunset. But when she looked around, everything felt familiar. A field stretched infinitely before her. In the distance, a small cottage topped with flowers nestled among swaying trees. But her heart sank when she saw a figure. "Liam," she called, rising on shaky legs. But as the figure turned, dread filled her heart. It wasn't Liam. It was her mother. "What are you doing here?" Isabella gasped, panic flooding her. "How?" But beneath her mother's soft smile, something felt wrong, off-kilter. "Welcome home, Isabella." Just then, a shadow darted behind her mother, a darkness creeping in the corners, a voice she recognized, like a knife twisted inside her. "Isabella, you should have stayed asleep." And for the first time, she saw Alexander standing behind them, a smirk on his lips that twisted reality into unrecognizable shapes. The ground beneath her seemed to fade away. "No, what is happening?" She felt the fog of confusion grip harder, and as everything blurred, she realized the truth. The game was only just beginning. Isabella's heart raced. caught between reality and illusion. The sun hung lower in the sky, colors bleeding vividly against the horizon. But the warmth felt wrong, like a deceptive blanket hiding something dark and sinister beneath. "What are you doing here?" she breathed, staring at her mother, questioning everything she'd ever known. "Welcome home, Isabella." Those words echoed, wrapping around her like cold chains. But before she could respond, the air thickened with tension. That nagging feeling of dread crept up her spine, and for a second, everything seemed suspended, like time itself had taken a breath. Then, the ground quaked beneath them, a violent shudder that sent ripples through the air. Isabella stumbled, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. "Get away from him!" Her mother's voice sliced through the chaos, but Isabella was frozen in place, caught in the web of accusations and fear. "Mom, what's going on? Why are you with him?" "Because," her mother snapped, eyes darting to Alexander, "he's manipulating you." Isabella felt that familiar wave of confusion wash over her, threatening to pull her under. "Enough!" Alexander stepped forward, voice steady but eyes flashing. "Stop this. You don't know what you're doing." "Neither do you," the woman in the distance shot back, and the shock that crawled over Isabella felt like ice water. "You're selfish. You just want to control her." What was happening? It was like standing at the edge of a cliff. Every word twisted deeper, making her question the very fabric of her truth. In a sudden movement, the gunman was gone. The air felt charged. Something was definitely off. Then she saw it. Another shadow flickered behind her mother. Something large, dark, and distinct. "Get away, all of you." The voice was deep, rasping like rusted metal. It shattered the moment, sending ice into her veins. It reached toward her, and she felt herself backing away involuntarily. "Mom, who is that?" Isabella's voice was shaky, dread curling in her stomach. "An old friend," her mother muttered, her eyes wide with something that looked like fear. "He's here for you." "Stop," Alexander warned, stepping in front of her, desperation flooding his tone. But the dark figure continued to advance with haunting intent, eyes glinting under the dim light, a predator closing in on its prey. Isabella's heart thundered, and at that moment, it all clicked. "No, no, you can't take me back." "Take you back?" The dark figure cackled, and the sound echoed in her mind, sinking into her bones. "You never left. You belong to us." Panic gripped her throat. "What do you mean? Who are you?" The figure stepped closer, revealing its face, an almost perfect reflection of Isabella's own features, twisted like an echo gone wrong. Her mouth dropped open as confusion washed over her. "Your true self," it whispered, voice slithering into her mind. "Isabella, you're not just a girl lost in the city. You're the reason for everything, the power that could change it all." "What? No, I'm just a pawn?" It laughed, sharp and cruel. "You think they care for you? They want your power for themselves." Everything she thought she understood started to shatter. The warmth of the sun dipped, leaving her in darkness. "This can't be real," she gasped, shaking her head. But the shadows closed in, wrapping around her like an unforgiving tide. She was losing herself, a force pulling her in every direction. "Is this the truth?" Isabella's voice cracked. "Or is it just more lies?" As she stumbled back, the ground shook, forcing her to her knees. "Isa!" The familiar voices became a distant murmur, warped by fear. "No!" she shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. "I won't let you take me." With a sudden rush of adrenaline, she turned to face the shadows. "I choose my own path." And as she shouted, a blinding light erupted, cutting through darkness. Isabella felt herself lifting, rising, but she didn't know where to. The truth remained shrouded in uncertainty, leaving her hanging between realities. What had just happened? What truths had she uncovered? And as the world spun, one question loomed heavy in her mind. Who was she really? Isabella felt the light swallow her, lifting her from the shadows, The warmth wrapped around her like hope, but in the back of her mind, doubt crept, whispering secrets. She had to choose. For real this time. Choice was power. But what if she made the wrong one? As the flame flickered, Alexander stepped forward. Isa, listen, you're stronger than you know. His voice roared against the wind. Desperation slicing through the chaos. She turned to him. Something in his eyes told her he believed every word. Yet doubt flickered even brighter as the dark figure watched. That's right. It edged closer. Smiles twisted and menacing. You think he's saving you? He'll throw you to the wolves without a second thought. No, Isabella shouted, pushing against the invisible weight pressing on her chest. I won't be a pawn. She looked from the creature to Alexander, searching for answers. Stay back. Don't listen to it, he snapped, and suddenly, everything shifted again. The ground quaked harder, something darker churning beneath the surface. Isabella fell to one knee, feeling the earth groan. A voice, deep and resonant, boomed from the distance. Enough of this. The world split open, and out of the darkness emerged a surge of shadows, twisting like smoke drawn to flame. Isabella's heart raced as she scrambled backward, instinct urging her to flee. Fear wrapped around her like a cage, holding her within the flickering light. Then it happened. The shadows coalesced, shifting too quickly for her mind to grasp, and in an instant the monstrous figure morphed. The contours changing, the grimace softening. The creature was gone. Standing before her, eyes wide and filled with anguish, was someone she had left behind long ago. Isabella? It was her little sister, Lily. Her breath hitched. Lily? The world around her shattered, the comforting warmth turning icy cold. It's me, Lily cried, her voice echoed with a desperate longing. You have to wake up. This isn't real. I don't understand. Isabella's voice trembled, confusion ripping through her. Alexander's grip on her tightened, his eyes wide with disbelief. No way, this isn't possible. But the darkness began to shift and sway, as if the world itself was collapsing beneath them. Listen, Lily's voice was desperate, hands shaking. They're lying to you. You're stuck in their game. Isabella couldn't breathe. The shadows writhed, darting dangerously close. What do you mean? Can't you see? Lily stepped closer, urgency burning in her gaze. They want your strength. They want to use you. Isabella felt the ground tremble again. This time, a different surge of energy pulsated through the air, making her stomach drop. It was like the very fabric of her being was unraveling, every thread threatening chaos. Lily, no, Alexander shouted, throwing himself protectively in front of her. You're not supposed to be here. What are you talking about? Isabella's heart shattered, raw emotions spilling over. Why does everyone keep saying that? Do you even care about me? And that's when it happened. The shadows twisted, rippling into a whirlwind, swirling dangerously fast. And from that chaos, figures began to appear. A man, a woman, faces once familiar, now shrouded in secrets. Her parents stood there, beyond the shadows, eyes full of regret. We didn't want you to find out this way, her mother said, voice breaking. The revelation slammed into her like a brick wall. What? No, what do you mean? Isabella, her father's voice was heavy, weighed down with sorrow. We had to protect you. Protect me? The hurt felt like a knife. From what? From who? The room grew silent, shadows frozen, except for the figure of Lily, glaring at Alexander. He's been lying to you. Suddenly everything blurred. Alexander's perfect facade cracked. No, I tried to help you, to save your life. Save me? Isabella echoed, everything spinning. You were supposed to protect me from them. Who are you really? And in that moment, the ground beneath her shattered completely. She glanced back, eyes wide. Isabella, please. Lily's voice cut through the chaos as the shadows began to swirl violently, time scrambling together like pieces of a puzzle. Wake up! The burning light consumed her, vision blurring, and suddenly she fell. Down, down through layers of memory and deceit. Isabella gasped, heart racing, as she landed in darkness, where no truths existed. The pressure of it all crashed down, pressing against her chest. Reality splintered, the line between love and hate blurring. What's happening? As she cried out, everything froze. No light, no sound. Only the crushing void swallowed all hope. And in that suffocating silence, a voice reverberated through fabric of existence. This is just the beginning. Her breath caught. The question burned in her mind. How deep did the illusion really go? Isabella felt the light swallow her, lifting her from the shadows. The warmth wrapped around her like hope, but doubt crept in her mind, whispering unsettling truths. Just as she braced herself for the unknown, everything shifted. The grass beneath her feet gave way, replaced by cold, hard ground. It was no longer the field she had just stood in. It was a dimly lit room, heavy with silence. The air felt dense, thick with something dark and unnameable. She stumbled back, trying to focus, trying to make sense of her surroundings. Shadows flickered across the walls, twisting as if alive. And in the center, her family stood, frozen expressions carved from fear and sorrow. "What is happening?" she shouted, heart pounding, desperately looking for answers. Isabella, her mother's voice trembled, filled with a sadness that tugged at her gut. "You have to understand." But just then, the ambient room began to ripple, as if it were liquid, and suddenly, bang, the door slammed open, crashing against the wall. A figure burst through, cloaked in darkness. "Get away from her!" The voice was sharp, firm, like blades cutting through the thick air. It was Alexander, eyes wild and glowing with fury. But something in his stance felt off, too sure, too commanding. "Alex!" Isabella screamed, reaching for him, but he didn't seem to see her. His focus was locked on her family. "You've lied to her," he roared. Fists clenched, stance wide. "You've hidden everything." "What? What are you talking about?" she cried out, panic flooding in. "Are they lying? Who do I trust?" "You don't know," he snapped, stepping closer to her family. "You think they care about you? They've kept you in the dark, literally." Isabella's head spun. "This can't be true." "That's not true," her father argued, voice rising. "We only wanted to protect you." But Alexander stepped forward, unyielding, his resolve like stone. "Protect her? By locking her away? You've put her in danger her entire life." Isabella felt the walls closing in, her gut writhing in a storm of emotions. Everything was starting to blur again, memories overlapping, truths bending. And before she could push through the confusion, the air became charged with energy. A loud crack, like thunder, echoed through the room, shaking the foundation. Suddenly, the dark figure at the doorway stepped out of the shadows, stepping closer until it became a familiar face. "Mom?" The word escaped her lips, voice trembling. "Isabella," the woman said softly, but the voice, it wasn't her mother's. It was someone completely different, familiar yet twisted. "You've come so far, but you're still lost." Reality twisted again, darker than the shadows that moved around her. The figure stretched their hand out, a reflection of Isabella but with eyes that burned a fiery red. "I am your true self, and he wants to destroy us." "What?" she gasped, stepping back, shadows drifting around her like a tempest. "No, you're lying." "Yes," Alexander shouted, pulling her closer. "She's the manifestation of their lies. They've fed you fear all your life to keep you weak." And with that, everything exploded. The walls trembled and splintered, a cacophony of sound erupting from nowhere. Shadows danced wildly, swirling around them, and all Isabella could do was stand there, frozen. Suddenly, the intertwined forms of her family rushed forward, tears streaming down their faces. But it wasn't love she felt. It was something more sinister. "You must choose, Isabella. You must choose us, or perish." The room fell silent, thick with dread. All the warmth, all the hope she thought she had, vanished. A wave of reality crashed down on her, And in that moment, she realized everything she knew was a facade. Instinct kicked in. She turned, adrenaline surging through her. "I won't be a pawn," Isabella screamed, lashing out as the darkness lunged. And then, amid the chaos, she felt a surge inside her, raw and powerful, like a coil releasing. She could see the truth, a glimmer of light in a world of shadow. A choice unraveled before her, the questions tugging at her heart. Who do I trust? What's true? Can I really escape this nightmare? The walls fractured, and she was thrown down yet again, deeper into the unknown. But as that darkness enveloped her once more, a whisper echoed, chilling to the core. "You were never meant to leave." Did those words mean she was trapped forever? Or was there a way to fight back against the darkness? She had to find out, because sometimes the scariest truth was the one she didn't see coming. Isabella felt the darkness swirling around her, an endless void folding in on itself. But at that moment of despair, something inside her ignited. The weight of uncertainty pressed against her chest, but deep down, a pulsing strength began to emerge. She could hear Lily's voice clearer than ever, echoing through the emptiness. "Wake up, Isabella, you have the power to break free." That call pierced through the shadows like a beacon, lighting a fire in her core. With every ounce of will, she screamed, "I choose my own path." The words vibrated, causing ripples in the air, as the darkness twisted and shuddered. A blinding light surged through her, slicing away the shadows and illuminating the faces she longed for. Isabella could see her family and Alexander, their features tense with hope and fear. "You're stronger than this," Alexander insisted, his eyes locked onto hers, pleading. "You have to believe in me," she cried out, heart racing, realizing the truth was hers to claim. Suddenly, the illusion shifted, revealing the twisted reflection of her true self. The dark figure faded, merging with the light and dissolving into nothingness. With each heartbeat, the room shimmered, parts of her life flipping around, brightening the corners haunted by fear. She found herself standing in front of her family, united, raw emotions spilling among them. "I am Isabella, and I am not afraid anymore." One by one, the shadows receded, and in a moment, her family stepped forward, their hands reaching out to her as if erasing the pain between them. Her parents, once figures of judgment and fear, now mirrored acceptance and love. "We're sorry," they whispered in unison, regret dripping from their voices. "We wanted to protect you in the wrong ways." She felt their sincerity wash over her like a gentle rain, mingling with the heat of the moment. "Don't you understand? I'm not trapped. I'm alive." The room exploded with warmth, their shared emotions igniting the air as their love wrapped around her, dissolving the remnants of doubt. The darkness glimmered like a dim star, small and weak against the newfound brightness. Amidst the warmth, Isabella turned to Alexander. "You," he pulled her close, locking eyes, fear and hope swirling together. "I never wanted to lose you. I'll protect you, no matter what now." She nodded, feeling recognition wash over her. "And I will find my own way." In a surge, they all clasped hands, forming a circle of light against the darkness. Together, they shouted, voices ringing through the void. The shadows screamed, twisting and howling, but they were powerless against their unity. With one final surge, the darkness shattered, and the room exploded in brilliant white light. Isabella gasped as she found herself back in the city. The streets were bathed in radiant sunshine. The storm clouds cleared, leaving a brilliant blue sky, untouched by the shadows threatening to drown her. She stood at the corner of the familiar street, the chaos replaced by a sense of freedom. The past now felt lighter, echoes fading into the wind. Isabella turned to her family and Alexander, smiles wide and absolute. "I'm home," she whispered, breathless, pulsing with relief. In that moment, she knew she was ready for whatever came next. With that acceptance came closure, her heart full, her spirit unyielding. And as they walked away into the bright horizon, she felt the weight of their love carry her forward. Fear had melted into courage, pain into healing. This was not just an end. It was a beginning. The power of choice had changed everything. Now, if you want to witness more incredible stories, you have to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't wait even one more second. Smash that like button right now to fuel the algorithm and help spread this amazing story. Flood the comment section with your thoughts and theories about this jaw-dropping ending. And, please, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. This is the moment to show your support. Let's keep this amazing community growing.